Ready, set, go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sweet Spot. I am going to drop you right in the middle of our Survey Says from 2025 episode. This is part 2, so you'll pick up right where you left off if you listened to part 1 first. If you didn't, you may want to go backwards and listen to part 1 before you listen to this one. Here we go.
Someone else said that they weren't expecting the awards banquets, to be a ceremony of a small group of people over and over. I found that interesting because it's an awards banquet. So if someone's really good at a game at multiple games, they're going to be awarded multiple times, thus an awards ceremony. So I don't really have anything.
I took that one to heart a little bit, and I wonder if again it goes back to I wish the awards banquets were shorter, and I wish we could recognize more things. Like we can't do both, but maybe there's something we can do to like recognize personal bests in some way. Like we certainly can't have everyone that got a personal best come up and stand on the podium or something, but just something to recognize more. Like I get it, but I also get like these people are very talented across a number of games.
Yeah, and it was very cool that there were people who were like, wow, there were a lot of the same people who got the awards over and over, but they're really good and I need to up my game. So they took it a different way, is that, they need to work on improving their skills.
And there were people that were on the podium this year that I've never seen on the podium before.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Very
that too.
competitive game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there were new folks that I don't know if they're new to Updog, but they're new to UpDiff.
Or new to the podium.
Right. That I was happy to see,
Yeah.
that, and everything, in the disc dog world, like Dre and I have been competing in it for a long time. We can tell you as a competitor, things ebb and flow.
Yeah, like
You
Jack's
know,
been winning everything for the past 3 years. And then
it
before
ain't gonna
that, I
it
was
ain't
winning a
gonna
bunch
last
before that.
forever.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like there's some great teams and great dogs out there that are really committed to Updog, and they play a lot, and yep, they probably run a club and they have a lot of rounds, and those are the guys winning because those are the guys playing and they have a great dog right now. And 3 or 4 years from now, when that dog starts to age out, some other young dog that's been practicing and training is going to come kick their butt, and that's what we work for. Like that's the whole point of the game, right?
Yeah.
Is to
I mean,
improve.
think about like some of the teams 5 years ago that used to dominate some of our games. Without mentioning names, like there's teams that used to dominate four-way play, and there was no way anybody else was getting on that podium other than those few teams. And same thing with like far out, and now you've got a changing of the guards, so to say, and like now other people are on those podiums. And I think that can be motivational if you take it that way. Yeah, I mean,
But I think also as an organization, we've really taken a lot of steps to acknowledge people outside of just top performance placements. So like I don't, of all the things that could be quote unquote complained about or requested to be some other way, out of all the organizations I've ever played, this is the only one that gives, you know, consistent acknowledgement and awards to something other than top three placement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Everybody already gets a player's pack. Everybody gets a disc. Everybody gets a bunch of stuff. So, how much do we need to give people without them dominating a game or being great at something or playing a lot? Like, what do we need an award for here? What would you like to be awarded for?
Yeah, and in another category, someone made a comment that what happened to the prizes for the people on the podium? There used to be more prizes. Well, one thing that we did was we shifted those resources to be given out randomly so that everybody can benefit from the sponsors and what they're giving us. So that's one way that we are awarding, quote, so to speak, the people who are coming that aren't ending up on the podium, and making that more of a random thing.
and that was Saturday and Sunday kind of got
mixed
messed
up.
up with it because of what we had to do with Saturday and Sunday, and I no longer had time to manage this. But the other days, like there were random draws, there were tickets given out for different things, there were tickets given out
Peers
for
meetings.
right, and then those tickets went into a hat, not really a hat, but went into a box, and we were pulling names out, and that's where a lot of the things from our sponsors they were given away. Again, it we took the feedback and we said, okay, how can we ensure that not a small group of people are walking away with all the stuff that the sponsors gave, because that's not what the sponsors want either. I mean, they don't want 5 people to experience their products. They want lots of people to experience their products.
Yeah, so we really put a lot of effort into having something for personal best, having some kind of achievement you can get on
Tactile
one
achievements
game
each
per
day, right? The
day.
stickers and things like that.
Doing the random draws, like, we put a lot of thought and effort into having everyone be part of the competitive experience and the celebration of achievement. But there's the people who are really good at the game are gonna be on the podium. That's just how it is. Every year there's a subset of people, usually 3 to maybe 8 comments that want a novice division or an intermediate division. And we've talked about it, but I mean, this is a international finals. This is a championship event. We are celebrating like it's like you don't go to agility finals and have a novice division. You don't go to any other disc dog finals and have a novice or intermediate division. It's the championships. So like we do a lot to make sure that as many people can come and experience it as possible, but it's just not
And
feasible for everyone to end up on a podium at
right,
a championship event.
right. But it is just like you guys were saying, there are lots of other things that hopefully are motivational,
Right.
like personal bests, trying to get the whatever the goal of the day is with the game of the day, different things like that, so that there are a few other things that you can go for to try and achieve at UpDiff. Because it's a celebration of achievement, but it is also a celebration of our champions.
Right. Exactly.
And we do have other activities going on. So if it's for people that they don't feel like they have enough to do, that they want to play something else because their dog didn't qualify for a game or something like, because USDDN does a Division 2 at their thing for people that didn't qualify, right? But we have other activities going on.
Right. And we also have eight fields going on, whereas
We
USDDN
have
has
other
one.
activities. Like there's other stuff going on throughout the day
Well,
for
because they have Division 2 going on.
Right.
yeah.
Oh
So
no, they've got
It depends on the day.
right.
I'm
Anyway.
right and you're right. Just deal with it.
Anyway, point being, we might not have a lower division, but we do have other activities. Great example for that is Fireball or Cosmic Updog
Or
or
pairs. Yeah.
or any
Right.
of the other things that we do. All of those are what you're asking for. That
What-
is what you're asking for. That is an activity for you to play. If you didn't qualify for the game or you're not a top competitor in that game, you can have an activity to play with your dog that doesn't require you to qualify or be a high level competitor and still have fun, have success at this event. And the
What-
rest of it really is celebrating achievement.
I didn't see it this year and I could have just missed it, but in past years, what's interesting is that some of the top level players have complained, and I'm putting that in quotes, not really complained, but they've commented about how it's not about the top players at UpDiff. Like they don't feel like it's a championship event like some of the other disc dog organizations. So just putting that out there.
Yeah. I've
So
heard that before.
yeah,
I've heard
so
that they feel like it's watered down a little bit because we recognize
Yep.
so many teams. Yeah.
So just throwing that out there is something that, other people think on a completely opposite end of this. So
It's really challenging
that.
to please everyone.
Yes.
Like it is. I mean, and I would say that is our goal, but
Yes.
it's sometimes just not achievable.
Right.
Well, and Kat, you did address that 3 different ways this past UpDiff. People wanting a more competitive experience by the intention for four-way play, for agility, and freestyle. So for all
Right.
3 of those games, we did set up the running order to put the top scoring competitors in a group, which is something that we've heard year after year after year, is that they don't want to watch everybody compete kind of as like a random mass of people. They'd want to watch the best of the best, which is what you normally would see at a world championship event. You're going to see maybe the bottom third is like, less competitive, and then the top two third is really the people that are battling it out. And you address that in 3 of the games, scaling it so that we had that. Of course, it didn't work out for four-way play because of the walk up. It was there on Saturday night, but it was crazy for agility. And then for freestyle, it worked out. But obviously, that was a whole different format that had a whole bunch of other things that we're changing and
Right.
adjusting. So we are listening. We do hear that people want to see the top teams compete. And we also hear the cumulative people, or the people that aren't the top teams, that they want stuff to do and stuff to engage with. And we really are trying to find a happy balance to give everybody what they're looking for. But when we have so many opposing views, it's really hard to hit it right in the target for everybody.
Yeah. Brian, did you have any call outs from that category?
A couple, though, that it might be kind of repeating some sentiments. In the sort of mixed signals category, I was just amused that the overwhelming sentiment was the judges were amazing. In fact, like I had a list of the descriptions: amazing, fantastic, efficient, well trained, etc. But then also there were, I don't know how many, but more than a few people who, like, I saw some bad calls, the judges need to tighten up. Like, I feel like with so many runs, like that's unavoidable. People are humans. They're not
We're gonna make mistakes.
AI or machines out there.
Not yet.
Not yet anyways, but even those things make mistakes. So I think it's unavoidable when you have so many. Like, the only way we could combat that would be for the event to be much, much smaller. Like, that's really the only way you can have that kind of quality control. And even then, I don't know that
Oh,
You're
you
still
could
gonna have
really
human
eliminate
error.
that.
Human error is not gonna go away.
right.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it happens in agility all the time. You don't get called for a contact this time. You do get
Yeah.
called for it next time, even though your dog hit the yellow. Like,
It happens in sports at the highest levels. The NHL playoffs are happening right now, and the topic of conversation on most of the NHL Facebook threads is about the refereeing.
Bad
It's
call.
across also. I'm not even a sports guy really, but I have seen, sentiments about that for refs across all the major sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's
it's always split too, whoever got the call, The refs
the
are
other
horrible. I love the refs.
there were a few people, I think, who said something about the fields being too close. But I'm remembering the drone footage I took. Like, I don't see how we could have really spread it out any. Like, we took virtually
there
all
was
the space.
a
There was
minimum
not
of
enough banners. Yeah.
there was a minimum of 30 yards between the
Yeah.
fields. So it's like if your dog can't handle 30 yards of space, maybe do a little more training. I don't mean to sound crappy about that, but I'm just saying 30 yards, that's how many feet? That's 100 feet, right?
30 yards.
Yeah.
There's 3 feet in a
90,
yard. Yep.
90 feet. So, there's only so many banners we can put up. There's only so many tents we can put up. Everybody wants a tent around the freestyle field, so like I can't, make people tent on the other fields to
Create more of a
to make
barrier.
that right. Buying that much fencing to separate the fields is not feasible. So
And then what is all this fencing in my photographs? It makes all my photographs look horrible.
I'm sure we would, and yeah, people would complain about that too. So,
But I mean, we have this conversation before UpDiff anyway, letting people know that if they have reactive dogs or distracted dogs, this may not be the best event for them.
right.
The other comment that was in this section that really resonated with me was the unsanctioned drone flying. And I remember when that happened, because the reports came into the main tent. I guess we'll have to establish a drone policy and have people like register that they're gonna, like, we have to do something, because I did fly my drone. I was afraid when the reports came in that I had somehow inadvertently terrorized someone's dog, but I was very purposeful to like go. I went to like the bandstand or whatever and launched it up there, and then flew over. Like
Yeah,
I
the
tried to be very
company
purposeful about that. And if other people are just launching it from their tent and by the field, like that's not cool.
yeah, yeah. Jack just wrote that down as we'll have a must seek permission to fly a drone, at a specific time kind of a thing next year.
We'll have Updog 3000 up in the sky,
And that's if we're allowed drones.
policing things.
I mean, technically last year at in Kentucky, you have to have a permit to fly a drone. So one got flown, not I didn't realize it till later. I don't know what the drone policy is in Tanglewood. We'll have to find out. There may not be any drones. We'll see. But yeah, that
And then just to end on a positive note, like there were several what I call game recognized game comments about like, oh, the level of competition was really amazing and the atmosphere was wonderful and there's a lot of camaraderie. So that's always good to see.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Just like we've said it a bunch. I think one of the best ways to get better is to go and leave your local area and go to a big event like UpDiff, and you see these strategies that maybe you've never thought of. You see different throws, different ways people are training their dog. It's all of that can make you a better player.
Yep. And I mean, anybody can do it. If you look at, some of the people on the podium are in their 50s and 60s. I would hate to say how old one person was who's been on the podium several times in a certain game. They haven't been to UpDiff in the past year or two, but that person I'm thinking is upper 60s, and they've landed on the podium a couple of times in a specific game. So really, and we've got youth that are landing on the overall podium. So it's
Right.
Anyone can do it, Anyway, all right. Anybody have anything else about the overall competitive experience and the comments they read? Nope.
No.
Okay.
If we sound like we're being crotchety, sorry.
Like I said, obviously we're trying to
I can
address,
only promise more of that when the next topic comes up.
we're just trying to address, what was said. And again, vast majority is positive, and thankfully, because if it wasn't, we'd stop doing this. But it's hard work. So those positive comments keep us going.
Absolutely.
All right. UpDiff store was the next question. 68.6% said that gave it a 5, 25% gave it a 4, 5.3% gave it a 3.
It's always like that percent they gave it a 3. I'm just like, what happened there?
Well, and
Like,
there are people that give it a 1 and a 2, but it's like one person or two people. So
I need to have a conversation with that person.
I don't even mention it.
I real quick did the overall average, and then this one's a 4.6. So
All right,
again, like
yeah,
really
that's good.
high up there on 5.
I didn't have any comments like that stood out. Most people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Oh my gosh, I spent too much money." That sort of thing. There were lots of requests for hats. I
There
guess
were hats.
trucker hats or something. I don't know. I didn't like pay close attention to the store to know what we did and
There
didn't
were
have.
trucker hats, but they were similar to last year. I don't know, maybe that was
There were requests for like larger and smaller sizes, more larger and smaller sizes, but Babs has access to the survey. We send the link to the whole team.
Yep.
So she has read your comments and hopefully will, adjust accordingly.
She is always looking for ways to make things better in the store and she loves it when she knows that you guys had a great experience at UpDiff, and a big part of that was because of the store.
Yep. All right. The next set of questions were players packs, tactile achievements, and celebration of achievement. Brian, did you do any averages?
Yeah, I real quick did averages for all the rest. So
Awesome.
this one, but they're all like 4.6 or 4.2. This one's 4.6.
For the player pack?
Yeah.
All right. And what about tactile achievements?
4.4.
All right. And celebration of achievement.
4.6.
All right.
It's like IMDb. Everything is a 6.2.
Yes.
Some comments that that I wanted to address that I saw. I only have two on this one. Someone suggested, or one or two people suggested, that we put the personalized disc in the player packs.
Oh
Um,
Lord,
that's not
not
happening.
enough. I didn't even alphabetize them this year because that would have taken hours. Like we were setting up these banquets, like 3 or 4 of us at like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night after doing games all day long. Like I don't know that y'all know how much happens backstage, but alphabetizing those would take hours. And just like our players pack person would have to go through, somebody would have to alphabetize them, and then our players pack person would have to find them in there for each person. So that line for the players pack would be exponentially longer, like so
Right.
much more time. You guys would not be happy with that option, I promise you.
I do think
Now calling A's to the players pack.
Hey, all the A did.
um one thing is that next year we should make sure that those get put out either on the first banquet. I don't know how many banquets we're having, but put them out at the first or second banquet, and then that way they can come to the field on Sunday for people who didn't pick them up at the banquets. Like, make sure they get passed out, and then we can just bring all the extras to the field.
Well, if we still decide to do it, there were some comments about those being chintzy too.
I think
Well,
we
they
would.
are always the
Jack
most
worked very hard on our
problematic.
awards this year.
What'd you say, Brian?
I feel like they're always the most problematic thing. Like they almost didn't happen this year, if I recall
Right.
correctly.
They almost didn't happen like this year and last year. Like
Right.
they're very difficult to get done.
Yes, it is not an
Uh-huh.
easy thing to do. So anyway, another one was that someone suggested that we implement a micro division for dogs under 12 inches. And we will do that someday, but we need more of those dogs to play up dog first. I looked at Throw and Go. Brian could have probably given me these numbers. I thought he was out of town, so I didn't ask. So I just looked at the numbers for Throw and Go of how many dogs are in each division. In the mini division, which is the division that currently houses dogs under 15 inches, there's only 27 dogs in that whole division. The midi division is 63, the maxi is 224, and the mega is 58, and the youth is 23. So right now there's not enough dogs to break out the mini division even further. That would be like a division of 5. So we would love to. So encourage your friends with the tiny dogs to play, and and we'll make it happen when they do. Same thing with Mega. Like Mega wasn't a division originally. We brought it later on as more big dogs played. So
If they come, we will build it. Isn't that the saying?
that is our saying. Brian, did you have any call outs, or Dre or Jack, on these comments for the
Just for the mixed signals sort of category, there were people who were like, Players Pack was amazing, like several of those, and then Players Pack, like where'd the Players Pack with all the stuff go? And someone said that they didn't feel like the Players Pack was worth the $35. So it's just weird to see like people say, "Oh, it's so amazing, blah blah blah," and then like feel like they got.
Yeah.
I feel like it was
off.
more. I feel like it was more positive this year. Like there were less complaints about the Players Pack this year.
I also think people, I have to do it sometimes myself. This one definitely has to do it. Like understand how much $35 gets you these days. Like when I was getting things like for the players meetings, and when I was getting the trophies and everything, and Kat was trying to give me this budget that like we worked under for trophies 4 years ago. And I'm like, 4 years ago, like that, like how much different is the, cost of things now from 4 years ago? Like
but we didn't raise
know.
the per run price, so
Well, that's what
we're
I'm
still going to be
saying.
working.
That made it even worse.
Right. That's what I'm saying is that like, you've got a bag and a disc right there. That is $25 minimum. That bag and that superstar disc. the disc itself is almost $20. And that, so I don't know. We will continue to try to do our best. Babs does an awesome job of sourcing things from places that she's created partnerships with and stuff. And so we do get things at a reduced rate, but you know,
And
unfortunately, $35 doesn't go as far as it used to go.
we spend more than $35. Like
We
that's
pay for
just
part
what
of the players packs. Yeah.
right. Like
Right.
that's
We
what
end
we
up
charge you, but it costs more than that.
right. We
We
end
only
up
charge you guys
like
35 to make them attainable. We cover part of the cost of the players pack so that you guys can have cool stuff in it. So it
Yeah.
I
costs
think,
more than $35 to make the players pack, and we just charge you 35.
well, and we talked about, let's make the economics of UpDiff a little more transparent. And this is part of that. I think people would be shocked the
right.
level of which things cost.
how
I know,
much-
I'm shocked.
The level of which we subsidize things,
Yeah.
and that's literally money out of our pockets, or money that could possibly go into our pockets. But again, like Kat was saying, like the vast majority are like, oh, these are awesome. It's just, it kind of sucks that even just a handful of people felt that they weren't
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You always want everybody to walk away feeling like what you did was awesome. And it's hard not to take the negatives personal,
Yeah. When you've
but
put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears into it for, 3 or 4 months prior to the event, and then you read negative comments, it's definitely, you know,
I hope everyone is enjoying this cathartic experience with us.
right? Hey, they don't have to listen to this one if they don't want to.
This can just be titled, instead of about the survey, we can just say UpDiff rant.
Yeah, or what is it? UpDiff Festivus?
Yeah. All right,
Airing
you
of our
guys
grievances?
Yeah, what else we
have
got?
any further comments on this topic? No call outs or anything?
Now, next.
Next was friendliness of staff. Brian, did you do an average?
4.77.
Nice. There were
Wow.
3 people that rated it a 1 or a 2. So I filtered to see what their other comments were. And again, some of them were like very positive, and they didn't like, there wasn't anything that kind of indicated why they would rate the friendliness of the staff a 1 or a 2. I think one person said that a new person in their club got spoken to not nicely.
Sometimes one conversation can kind of leave an impact on you. And I can say that not as much this UpDiff, but I can say that at other UpDiffs there have always been at least 3 or 4 exchanges with people that I wish I had back. Because I'm in the middle of something's going on at a field, I'm running to go do something, and somebody stops me and asks me a question, and I'm curt with them, or I tell them to go talk to somebody else because I'm too busy or whatever it is. And I know there have been a couple times.
You need a no hat.
Well, I mean, if these were cheaper, maybe I could get one. I don't know what's the budget on the no hats.
Over 10 cents, Jack. Just forget it.
We can make you one.
I'm just saying, I try to be nice to folks, but I know that every UpDiff previous to this one, I've always walked away like with some regrets about 3 or 4 exchanges with people that I've had, and sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean we're human. It's like Dre said on a previous podcast, like before UpDiff even starts, we've been working for 2 days or 3 days. By the time we get to Friday or Saturday, we've already been going for 5 days. So, we do the best we can, but we're humans, and it's a lot of work.
Well, also, I don't know that everyone knows that the hours that we're working at that event. And I mean, honestly, I got to sleep in a number of days, but you guys, like,
Players
I
meeting
know, right?
25
But like,
days
not not going to bed until 1:30 and doing like manual labor up to that point. and then
Yeah.
getting up.
Events, setting up
This is
banquets.
where like I'll say I was the lazy, like I would, get up at like 7 or something, but I know you guys were getting, like, you were at the field then. I don't know when you were getting up. So that's not a lot of hours of sleep.
Yeah, I don't get to the field until like 7:15, but because Jack gets to the field at what, 6:15 or 6:30, that means I get woken up when he gets up, you know? So like it
Well, and you got to take care of the dogs and stuff like
right,
that.
right. But yeah, it's a really long day. And
Really long week. Let's just be honest. Like it's
right,
one long day. We sleep like 5, 6 hours a night, maybe. Get
right.
up and do it all over again. Sleep 5, 6 hours, maybe. Get up and do it all over again for a whole week. And there's
Yeah.
really
And I mean,
sun and wind, and we're in the elements.
Yep.
So
We do our best. We'll try to be nicer, but we do our best.
it is
Again, that was 3 people, so let's not focus on it.
it is probably always the hardest if I take into account manual labor and the amount of time that I'm working. It's probably the hardest I work out of the year that week, but it's also one of my favorite weeks of the year, if not my favorite week of the year. I mean, because I know
Yeah.
like it's so much fun to see everybody having a great time. So,
It's
culmination of all of our
it's
work.
both sides.
It's
Yeah, we
fun. Go ahead, Dre.
we actually get to see a culmination of all the work that we did. So that, I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
that's a reward for us. We don't get to play. We invest a lot of time and energy and effort throughout the entire year to plan the thing, and our payback is getting to see you guys have fun. So
Yeah.
that's how we enjoy it.
It's
And
Go ahead.
well, and also we've been
Cat, go.
What I was gonna say is that like the number of steps that we put in at UpDiff is like astronomical, and it's really hilarious to like look at my step history the month before UpDiff and then at UpDiff. It's literally like 500 steps, 1,000 steps, like the weeks leading up to UpDiff, because I'm sitting at my desk doing running orders, answering emails, putting out information. Like I'm not moving from my desk. And then all of a sudden we get to UpDiff and my body is like, what the heck? Why are we why is there 10,000 steps today? It's like such a contrast. It's really, it's funny. All right, go ahead, Jack.
I have two things.
Okay.
First, the secret color is rainbow. All right. Now, secondly, I just want to say that we've been talking about some negative things that sometimes kind of impact us and get us down. But I will also say for all of those folks, and there were a ton of them, that stopped me when I was running between, tents or doing freestyle stuff, or met me there super early in the morning to help out or whatever. There were so many people that just stopped and just were like, Jack. And I was like, yeah. They're like, I'm having a great time today. This is awesome. Like just those little comments, you don't know how much that means to us throughout the day. And sometimes those come right at the right moment.
Yeah.
So like it's so thank you guys for doing that. It seems like a small thing, but like that keeps us going.
Yeah. If you say it at the exact right time, at the exact moment of tiredness, you might actually get tears out of me sometimes. That's happened before. I'm just like, thank you. And it's amazing. So thank you to everyone who takes the time to acknowledge that.
Let us know you're having fun. That
Yep.
makes it.
All right. The next question was about Fireball, how we're going to play Fireball at UpDiff next year, and that if we have to remove a game, what game should we remove? And to nobody's surprise, I'm sure 49.7% of the people said boom. What did surprise us, though, was 14% said throw and go.
That was the second one, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the next two at 7.6% were 7-Up and Funky. So I'm gonna because
So we are dropping freestyle. So
Oh yeah,
I mean,
in a sense, we are.
right.
we are.
The survey was written before we made the decision to go to one round of only a freestyle. So I don't think that we're going to have to drop Boom. I don't think we'll be able to let everyone in Boom who got to play Boom this year, but I think it will be an option. We'll at least be able to do, 6 hours of Boom or something like that. So the teams that really love that game for some unknown odd reason, one of them,
Because they're badass disc players.
right, they will still get to play Boom. So if they put it number 1 or 2 on their list, then they should be able to get it. But anyway,
Yeah.
anybody have anything else to say about that? Nope. All right. Then there's a question, open-ended question, that what's your favorite thing about UpDiff? And I don't think that it's a required question, but there were literally no blank answers. So that was cool. Everybody had something to say. And the vast majority said that it was the people and or the vibe. That was the vast majority of answers.
That's the goal.
Someone put Fireball, and I feel
Yeah.
sorry for them.
Why? Fireball's awesome.
I know.
Um,
That
How
was
many
just
people
me.
said boom?
None.
No one.
Nobody loved Boom the most. Sorry, Jack.
Yep. That's okay. He doesn't love Boom the most. He likes it, but he doesn't love it the most. All right. The next question was, if you could change one thing other than the weather, what would you change? A few people still wrote down weather. They always do. One person said that, suggested that we have a person that can answer all the questions other than me because they feel bad asking me things. But I just want to say that at UpDiff, it's okay to ask me things as long as I don't have on my no hat. That's that is my job. That is why I hire an entire team of data entry people. Yes, sometimes I have to do data entry and help them. And especially in the late afternoon as we're figuring stuff out. But otherwise, like I'm like the event coordinator. I'm the, the go-to point person. So it's okay to ask me things.
Well, how come every time I went to ask you a question, you were like, no, not now?
Well,
That's weird.
Well,
because you're you.
as an outsider, to say something about that, I would say before you ask Kat any questions, check the live fact sheet.
Oh, please. Yes.
Check the live fact sheet. And don't just look over it.
Hey,
Control F, search for the word you're looking for, because sometimes, like, I couldn't find the directions or address to one of the banquets, went to the wrong because there's two, whatever. And I checked the live fact sheet, but the information was in a section that I didn't expect it to be in because I didn't do the find. So don't waste Kat's time. She's a busy lady. Check the live cat sheet, the live cat sheet
Live cat sheet.
first. Check it thoroughly. And then if you can't find the answer, then ask Kat. That's what she's there for. But
there's
don't-
cat sequences and cat sheets.
But the first answer is always going to be check the live fact sheet.
So teachers would know this saying. So when kids are working independently and the teacher's over with their small group of students, a lot of times I'll have a little sign up and it says ask 3 before you ask me. And that essentially means like if you're stuck on something or you forgot what the next assignment is, go ask 3 kids, ask 3 other classmates before you go to the teacher and ask the teacher. So there you go, Kat. I'll get you one of those signs. Ask 3 before you ask me.
On her hat. And then on the back side, it'll say no. And she could like
Right, and I could
or
just
back, front or back.
switch it around.
We'll put a little flag holder that says check the live fact sheet.
Yep.
I was just, I'm curious how, if you could just ballpark it, how many questions were you asked that the answer is in the live fact sheet?
98%.
By Jack, 98%.
By others?
I'm at the end of this podcast. I'm going to need to go back and read all the positive comments again. Thanks, Kat.
Right. Honestly, this year it was not as bad as previous years. There are people who've made comments in the survey that made it clear that they did not read the live fact sheet before they made their comment, but even that is less than in previous years. Because that's a lot of times in the surveys, I just ready to pull my hair out because I'm like, that was in the live fact sheet. They're like, we didn't know this, we didn't know that. I'm like, it's in the live fact sheet. So that was less this year too, but honestly, not that many. Most of the questions that I got asked this year were legit questions. That's what I'm saying. That's my job at UpDiff, is to answer people's questions. So, and to make sure things are going the way they're supposed to, and everybody's supposed to be where they're supposed to be. So, it's okay, but yes, please check the live fact sheet first and ask 3. That would be great as well. And then if you don't have the answer, then feel free to come ask me.
Well, maybe at the next UpDiff, there'll be like a Discord channel for asking questions that several people can be monitoring. Or
Yeah.
maybe in my day job, I do a lot with AI. I could probably pretty easily put together a AI cat that can answer any questions that are on the fact sheet.
Wow,
So it's got your particular flair of snark and attitude.
That would be awesome.
that would.
I
I'll
love
go
that.
take a nap. I'll take a nap. I'll be like,
70,
AI cat.
72% sarcasm.
And when
But-
you're using the app, Brian, you can get black check marks against you.
Yeah,
Like if you ask it the same thing twice or something, they're like, I already told you that.
this is AI consequences.
But I would say like the few times I would get asked questions sitting at the main tent, they were all questions that could not be sourced to the live fact sheet, and I would unfortunately have to say you're gonna have to ask Kat. Yeah, so it wasn't people just asking easily answered questions for
Yeah,
sure.
I would say this year was the best year in terms of people making sure that they were informed. I hope that part of that is because we make you say that you promised to read the live fact sheet before you arrive at UpDiff, before you're even allowed to register. At least I think that's helped get rid of some of the, well, I didn't know that. And like, please, I mean, that's the best way to piss me off is to tell me you didn't know something that was on the live fact sheet that had been there for
Two
months.
checks.
Yeah. But anyway, another comment that I think only like 2 or 3 people made, but I found it interesting was a suggestion that UpDiff should run Monday through Saturday or Monday through Friday. So that way they just have to take a week off. They can take the weekend to get there and the weekend to get home. And they just have to take the 5 days off. They were saying that, doing it Wednesday through Sunday, I don't get the math of
It
this.
splits it into 2 weeks.
Right. Like it's still just 5 days off of work, but for some people, apparently it would be better for them to be
That's interesting.
the Monday through Friday, 5 days.
Maybe that's a question to put out there on Facebook as
Yeah.
a survey. Let's see.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd prefer that. It's definitely
I think we'd lose local teams because there were quite a few people that came just from Alabama and they only came for Saturday and, well, supposed to be Sunday.
There were lots of people that just came for Friday, Saturday, Sunday that I
Yeah.
saw. Like,
So I think it would definitely impact those teams. So anyway, it was an interesting suggestion and something for us to think about. I wouldn't do Monday through Friday, I don't think, but I would consider like, Tuesday through Saturday instead of Wednesday through Sunday. I don't know. Found it interesting. I don't know. What about you guys? Did you see anything interesting in the change one thing category? Brian, any notes there?
the ones I saw you already mentioned. I didn't
Okay.
see anything.
All right. The next question was about moving UpDiff, which we've had a whole podcast on that. But
check that out.
Yes, you should definitely check that out. I didn't write down any of the comments because, again, there's an entire podcast on that topic. But so that you know that the percentages, 48.5% of the people said, yes, we should move it to November. 32% said that we should leave it. And 19.5% said that they were indifferent. We still haven't made any decisions. We won't make any decisions about this. I mean, we're going to see like how the Freestyle Invitational goes whenever that is. It'll be in the fall. So, if you'd like to hear more and you haven't listened to the other podcast, listen to that podcast. The last category in there was, would you like to provide us with any other feedback? And there's always a whole smattering of comments in there, but the 3 that I wanted to address was there are a couple people who said that the vendors were off in a corner by themselves and that they should be spread out amongst the fields. I find that really amusing because there were multiple comments in the survey last year that said the vendors should all be put together. So I was reacting to the survey from last year, putting all the vendors together and putting them next to the store. So all the shopping happened in one place. And now there's people who didn't like that. So there's no winning apparently in this
I
category.
liked it the way that we had it this year. I thought it was easy to find all the stuff that was for sale. Usually, when they're spread out, I just miss people because I don't know where they're
Yeah,
set up.
right. And you
Right.
don't, yeah, unless you really pay attention or really look closely, you don't know if that's somebody selling stuff or somebody just laid out all their discs to dry in the sun.
And I think, I wouldn't have seen some of the vendors because I wasn't like looking for them. I wouldn't have seen them if they weren't in the vendor section. Like I wouldn't have looked at their stuff. I wouldn't have gone and looked at their stuff. But I did consider buying and even ended up buying a couple climbs that I hadn't planned on buying just because it was in that section. If the climb guy was somebody else or some other spot, I wouldn't have gone over there.
Yeah.
But they were right there on the corner and the whole shopping section, and I was going to see friends in the shopping section, and so I think I would like to have it like that in future years. I feel like it was really convenient for shopping, and then
I think,
we're
yeah,
clear who the vendors are and who's selling, and then nobody else is supposed to be selling because that was
right,
the other thing. There was a bunch of people in previous years selling out of their tent without being a certified vendor, and our vendors had paid money to vend, and that's
right,
not for people that had paid money to vend. That other people are just selling stuff out of their tent without clearing that. So part of
right.
this.
And
Those sound like the same people that maybe were eating all the food at the banquet.
So regardless, I think that it was a smart choice to have all the shopping together, and I think ultimately all the vendors ended up selling more because they were all in kind of a shopping area.
one of the people, I assume it was a vendor slash competitor who said this, said that sales were down this year. But I don't know that that had to do with location. So, and I really do think we'll probably keep all the vendors together in the future. It just makes sense. One place to go. The reason that the store and the vendors were off to the side was because that's where the power was for the store. And we can't put those in the middle of the field. We only have so much field space. So our choices were one of the corners of the field. So no matter what, it was going to be in a corner. Um, so at least we put you in the most popular corner by the bathrooms and the store. So anyway, the next one was people wanting a healthy option for the food trucks. And you know what? I hear you, but this is Alabama, and there we found no such thing.
And it's a
So,
food truck.
and it's a food truck.
And I mean, there are lots of food trucks that are on their own program, and I don't know how they make money, but it's certainly not by responding to emails or phone calls or anything
Jack.
else.
I'm still
But this year we had a DoorDash drop. We had like plenty. They could have ordered from they could have gotten a sushi bowl delivered every single day to that tent with a drop off right there. It was easy to find. It was easy to find healthy food. I have a ton of diet restrictions, and I was able to find food every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I mean,
it
we'll
maybe
keep
more
looking.
technology people that can DoorDash, but
I was definitely looking for it. I was hoping I could find something that had like fresh stuff, like salads or, deli sandwiches or something like that.
I mean, we've gotten lucky in Kentucky that Ben Sawa's has been able to come because, they had vegan choices and but I mean, that was just a one-off that we were able to have them. We actually tried to get them to Decatur since it really wasn't that far away, but unfortunately, the husband was in California that week, so they couldn't come. But anyway, we tried, but
And we'll keep trying.
we'll
Like
try
I wanted to go for variety with the food trucks and I mean when we had food trucks just simply not show up.
Yeah,
we
that
had
was
that last year too. I
Yeah.
had that last year too. One of them just it was a 2 or 3 day one. And they just didn't show up. Like 2 hours late, I called and he's just like, yeah, but that's what food trucks do. They double book. So, they book something and then
And they
another
just go to whatever they think
and
the
they just
best
go
one is that they're gonna earn money at, which I think in this
would have
case
been us.
rather would have been us, but
Yeah, the Filipino truck would have killed it because that was so different than what we had already had. But
yep.
they're
I was
lost.
just gonna say I'm so upset about the flippin' Filipinos
Yeah,
Yep.
not showing up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
And I'm
know.
not calling them flipping like that was the truck name.
That was
Flipping
the name
Filipinos.
I was just gonna
I
cover
wasn't
that
being
for you,
racially
Brian.
insensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
was
Don't
was
cancel.
the truck
yeah.
name. All right, so that was the last question.
Well, no, remember there was the question that went out to all 6 of the UpDog team members where we rated the UpDiff participants, the people that went to UpDiff. So those ratings will be posted online on the discussion page. So if you'd like to see what your rating is, you can see that. The good news is that the average, Brian, I believe, was a 4.87, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that Ben got voted worst, just the
Oh,
worst.
okay. All
Rimby,
right.
Rimby or
Rimby.
Shryock?
Definitely.
Rimby, Ben
Definitely.
Rimby.
Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear.
Ben gets all these call outs on the podcast, but I don't know how many of them he actually wants.
Yeah. Or listens to.
Right.
Right. So there were a few, well, there were many really positive comments, like I said, but there were a few that I pulled out that I kind of wanted to read. And for me, these people just like get UpDiff, like they get what it's about. And I'm not saying that the people who are saying you rock, great job, please keep telling us that too. But these are just some that I wanted to like share with everyone. This one person said, "This is one of our favorite national events because the amount of people who are kind, friendly, and supportive of one another is unmatched. The judges are always cheering you on throughout the round, and we loved hearing them help the newer players during their games. UpDiff is one of the only national events that keeps both a competitive edge between top players while still being supportive and welcoming to more novice players, which makes it so special." I was like, wow, that like
I mean, that's what
those
we
are great.
strive
That's
for.
right.
And we know we don't.
You get it.
Yeah, I know we don't hit it there for everybody, but that's awesome to hear.
Right. Another one is I love that everyone cheers each other on, but at the same time, it's super competitive. Great vibes. I agree 100%. I shortened this one. But so it says,
Did you also change any negatives to positive things?
well, no, it's all positive. I've just left off the first one because it was about something else. But anyway, it says, but having so many awards, divisions, and achievements is a huge enjoyment at UpDiff and something I absolutely love because it allows everyone to have a shot at bringing home something really special, even if you're not super competitive. And then the last one I pulled out said, keep up the great work. What you have built is amazing and gets better and better every year. Your ability to keep UpDiff as friendly and welcoming atmosphere for players of every age and ability, while also providing great competition with the best of the best is amazing. So like those and comments like them are what will encourage me to keep spending months and months making running orders and organizing UpDiffs.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for all the positive comments and positive remarks, and honestly, for your honesty too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want people just saying that they like stuff when really they're like, man, they really should change this one thing. Obviously, tonight we had a little bit of fun with it, but we do want to hear what you maybe would like to see done differently or better as well. That's why we put the survey out there. So
And it's
just know that we can't react to everybody's comments because sometimes they're contradictory, like Brian's pointed out tonight, and sometimes they're just not feasible.
right. Sometimes the comments that people make, they don't understand some of the things that go into it and why those things can't happen. So that's, you know, kind of the things that we wanted to address on this podcast, or I say these podcasts. I'm sure it's going to be more than one podcast.
It's going to be one long giant podcast.
It's the 2-hour podcast. No, we're not going to do that.
It was recorded as one long one, just for the record.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, no, we love that you guys give us feedback. We love to hear from you. Even the bad stuff, as long as it's not something that could have been found in the live fact sheet. And I know you guys, have any closing comments about survey or anything, or UpDiff or life?
I have
No.
more life.
So
I just think people should be kind to each other.
Yes. Dre's like, I'm ready to get some shut eye. You guys be kind to each other, be kind to your animals. I'm out.
Peace.
We hope you guys are prepping for next year. We hope you're out on the field with your dog, having a great time. And in the meantime, as Dre said, be kind to each other.
And be kind to your dog.
Yeah. Awesome. See you guys later.
Bye. Anybody have anything else to say about that?